Hello, everyone. So, with respect to the prelims of 2025, we are going to discuss some important schemes. Third scheme is the Sankalp Hub for Empowerment of Women by, again, Minister of Women and Child Development. Now, again, you don't have to remember the full form of it because it's quite a complicated thing. It's mentioned supportive action of nurturing, knowledge-based advancement, last mile delivery, and potential of realization of women. Some of the schemes, the full form is easier for us to remember, but again, this is quite difficult. So if at all there is a question, it would be this thing that would be asked, only your short form would be asked, okay? And this is a initiative under the ambit of Mission Shakti. If you go back to the Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao scheme, again, as I told you, since it's been 10 years of implementation, Mission Shakti also becomes quite important. So under Mission Shakti, your Sambal and Samarthya also becomes quite important, right? Again, I've even mentioned if Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao is important, then your one-stop center also becomes quite important. So again, your Sankalp is also part of Mission Shakti, and it serves as a vehicle to bridge the information and knowledge gap regarding the schemes and facilities available for the women. Okay, now as it is one of the important problems that people face, right? See, if you look at uh, uh, people, especially if you look at the literacy level that is there, the education level that is there, quite a lot of women in the rural areas are not so well educated, so they might not be aware of the benefits of the schemes. They may not be aware of the different schemes that are available. Okay, fine. So in which case, it becomes quite important that the women are able to know, get to know about the information with respect to schemes. So this is kind of a one-stop point wherein women with a particular problem can come and talk to a person, okay, and based on which you will get to know which is the scheme that is best suited for you. Okay, fine. So it serves as a project monitoring unit for all the components under the Mission Shakti and also works with convergence with the Beti Bachao Beti Padhao scheme. So that is so in a way it becomes so there could be a statement even if there is a question pertaining to Beti Bachao Beti Padhao. What if there is a statement pertaining to Sankalp U is one of the initiatives which is in convergence with this particular scheme? Now you have to decide whether the statement is correct or not. Okay, fine. So this is quite important. And why are we discussing about this thing? Because there has been a special campaign of 100 days that was run in 2024, and newspapers have covered it. Okay. And when we look at this campaign, there have been emphasis on activities, seminars, and awareness campaigns with respect to laws. Okay, what are the different laws that are there in BNS that are safeguarding the women? What are the benefits that are there for women with respect to the legal help? Okay, about sexual health, gender knowledge, skill development, career counseling. Okay, so all this awareness, the gap that is there with respect to information. Okay, that was being bridged using this 100-day special campaign that was held in the 2024. So that is why, because of this initiative, again, it has been in the news in 2024. Okay, fine. And if you look at the achievement with respect to this, as of December 2024, there have been some 35 state level hubs have been set up. And so that means there are quite a few hubs at the state level. There are hubs at the district level also. So that means a woman in need can go to this hub and get to know, based on her concerns, her problems, what is the scheme that is best suitable for her. Okay, fine. So this is one more initiative. And if you want to look at a quick video on this scheme, okay, talking briefly about what are the different services that are available, you can go and have a look at it. It's just a 2-3 minute video explaining about what are the benefits as part of this. Okay, so it's a fairly small initiative, but again, since it's been in use in 2024, briefly you may want to know about this thing also. Okay, right? See, there may not be a question on this scheme and various statements pertaining to this particular scheme itself, but it could be one of the statements with respect to your Beti Bachao Beti Padhao scheme also. Fine. Or if there is, again, UPSC is thinking about some kind of match the following questions, then also this can be picked up. Fine. Then another scheme is your Sukanya Samriddhi Yojana. Again, why are we discussing in 2025 about this scheme? Because it is to do with the financial security of the girl child. So that way, it was brought in under the ambit of Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao itself. Okay, so 10 years of Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. So naturally, if it is being launched under the ambit of Beti Bachao in 2015, this also becomes quite important. 10 years of implementation of this scheme also. Okay, but what is the specific aim of this particular scheme? It is ensuring financial security. Fine. And if you look at the eligibility, certainly Indian residents and maximum 3 children, with an exception that, see, there are only one child. Okay, what if while there are twins after the first child? What if there are triplets to start with also? Okay, so those are, barring those exceptions, it is again the benefit is only for the 2 girl children. Okay, because a similar question, if you remember, there was a previous year question wherein is there a reduced benefit for the woman who was having already 2 children? Right, हमने डिस्कस किया था एक स्कीम के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू में, राइट? सो लाइकवाइज there could be a similar statement with respect to this also. If already there are 2 children, do you think the benefit is still available for the 3rd child or a 4th child? Right, certainly not. Okay, fine. And if you look at the progress with respect to this scheme, over 3 crore, because see, especially the reason these things may not be asked as a statement in prelims, but again, as I told you, you can use the same content for your mains also later. Fine. So from the point of your mains, the assessment becomes very important. Right, to what extent it has been successful, right? What are the recent developments? Okay, what is the scale of the impact of this particular scheme? So those aspects you will definitely would need in terms of points that you mentioned in your mains answer. So you don't have to again look for another source for mains. Okay, so that is why I'm even adding these aspects also, so that you consider this to be an integral document for both your prelims and mains. Mainly we are emphasizing on prelims, but this is what is will be helpful for you to write good answers for mains also. Okay, and if you look at the benefits of the scheme, the government sets competitive interest rates on deposits. Okay, so naturally you would want to have a long-term deposit. Okay, so there is a better interest rate compared to any other deposit, and there are the contributions can be under the ATCC, that is, you have tax deductions also. The interest that you earn on the deposit that you make as part of this scheme, that is also free of any kind of a tax. Okay, and mainly it is trying to ensure a long-term financial security for the girl child. Okay, especially so you get a lump sum money with a competitive interest rate after the girl is reaching 21 years of age. Okay, so this is mainly emphasizing on the financial security of the girl child. Okay, Sukanya Samriddhi. Then another program, which is your Kilkari program, and this is not per se an initiative of Women and Child Development Ministry, rather it's an initiative of Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. And what is this program? This is a IVR-based mobile health service, okay, as part of your Digital India initiative. What is IVR? Voice response. Now, again, mainly to spread the message about the health, okay, to deliver vital health information directly to the expectant mother. Because see, as I mentioned, right, there have been a lot that has been discussed, okay, with respect to the risks that are involved with respect pregnancy. We are trying to take every possible measure to reduce the maternal mortality rate, reduce the neonatal mortality rate, reduce the IMR. So certainly, in which case the health of the pregnant woman is quite important. There have been questions on these aspects also. If you looked at previous year question, Janani Suraksha Yojana also talking about the same thing. Okay, fine. So, but here the emphasis of this particular program is primarily to spread the message. Okay, and how is the message being spread to the woman? Okay, the messages are being spread through what your IVR based mobile application. Okay, so in 2024 the program has been launched in 2 more states. That is why some coverage in the newspapers with respect to this program. So newspapers have covered this program because 2 more states have been added, Maharashtra and Gujarat, to now making it a total of 18 states which are using this program. Okay, and as part of this program, women are registered on the portal, and based on the registration during their pregnancy, they get regular updates in terms of what is the care that has to be taken. So it's a free weekly messages that are being spread to the woman through this IVR mode. Okay, on the pregnancy, childbirth, child care. Okay, right. So in a way, again, not a flagship program, but again, would be a statement also could be something that can be used as in match the following also, fine, right? And certainly for the mains, you can certainly mention it as a point in the main examination, right? Then another program or initiative that has been in the news is your SWATI portal by Ministry of Science and Technology, right? And what does SWATI stand for? Science for Women, Technology and Innovation Portal, which was launched in 2024. That is why it was in news. And the objective is to create a single online portal representing Indian women and girls in STEM, okay, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and medicine, which could help in policy making and address the challenge of gender gap in science, okay, because a lot has been discussed. Even if you look at some of the international reports, okay, for last many years, gender gap index, you talk about gender gap index or any of the reports that we have seen, okay, they have been emphasizing on the fact that how still there is a lot of gap that needs to be bridged in terms of participation of women in especially the areas like science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, okay. So this is another initiative which is kind of a repository where you see all the details pertaining to who are the women who have been contributing to this fields like science, technology, and the interactive database is hosted by this organization, National Institution of Plant Genome Research, okay, and the main objective is to scale up the efforts exponentially to include each and every Indian woman in science. So in a way, this is a kind of portal wherein you get a lot of information about or in a way more like a role models, one place where you look for role models and also other information, and that in a way is helping any other, okay, any any woman who is aspiring to get into this particular field would go and would want to look at this portal and try to understand in which all fields, okay, or what are the possible fields also wherein you can see a greater amount of women being participating who are participating. So that ways, if you have a exhaustive list of women who have been participating in different areas, this acts as a motivation for the women to further be part of it, okay. So that is the main emphasis here, and also enable reliable and statistically significant long-term research on the issues, okay, and some searchable database in terms of you want to look at some whether there is a representation in this particular field or in this domain of the science. You are interested in a particular area of engineering, okay, to what extent the research is happening, and in that also to what extent women have been contributing, then you can search easily in the database, fine. So this is the main objective. These are the main objectives of this particular program. And if you look at how is it helping, okay, in a way, when I'm talking about role models, right from awardees, those people who have won Padma Shri or Padma Awards or Shanti Swarup Bhatnagar Awards, then women who are holding on important positions, right from the level of directors to any of the important faculty positions, research fellows, PhD scholars, and names of few entrepreneurs, startups, okay, and also people who have contributed to STEM, okay. So if you have all these details, now it becomes handy for you to also, and you can even reach out to these people also for some kind of a guidance also, fine. And this particular portal as of now has about 300 women who are kind of registered, right? So this is what is all about this SWATI portal. Again, not a flagship program, but again, it could be asked as a statement, merely a statement, or SWATI portal is associated with what? Okay, there could be a simple question on this, with simple statements ABCD. The one talking about education, something talking about health, something talking about STEM. Then you have to pick up the right option out of the 4 statements that are mentioned. Fine. Then, as I already mentioned, okay, one-stop center, which is part of what? Your Sambal. Okay, so I've already discussed Mission Shakti. As part of it, there is Sambal and there is Samarthya. And under this Sambal is what is your Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, and then one-stop center. That's why, since again it's 10 years of implementation of Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, Sambal. Okay, now OEC also becomes quite important that way. Fine. So it's a centrally sponsored scheme launched in 2015 under the Nirbhaya Fund. Okay, after the incident in 2012. Okay, Nirbhaya incident. Okay, we have set up a Nirbhaya Fund, and as part of that only we have one-stop center scheme. The implementing ministry mainly is your Women and Child Development, and 100% from the central government. And it's been 10 years of implementation of this. And since 2023, it has been subsumed as part of your Mission Shakti. Okay. And the target group, mainly those who are affected by violence, irrespective of which caste, class, sexual orientation that the woman is part of, okay, or the marital status. Any woman who is affected by violence can reach out to this one-stop center, and there is an online platform also which is called Sakhi dashboard, which is available for the monitoring of the implementation. Okay, and as of Jan of 2025, you can see about 800 centers have been set up across India, and which have in a way have been in some form or the other been reaching out or assisting about 10 lakh women in the last 10 years or so. Okay, so this is all about what the scheme is and what has been the achievement till date. And if you have to look at some primary objectives, okay, to provide integrated support and assistance to women affected by violence, both in the private and public spaces. Very important, because women, imagine someone, a married woman going through domestic violence incident would want a safe place also, okay? Or if he's a victim of a violence in a public space also, then also fine. So both private and public spaces is under the purview of this particular scheme. And then to facilitate immediate and emergency and non-emergency access to a range of services, including medical, legal, psychological, and counseling support. Right? So it's under one single roof, right? The victims of the violence, whether it is within the four walls or in the public spaces, can reach out to this place, and they can take the help in terms of how to, if they want to take the battle in the court, then legal help. They would be going through a lot of mental trauma, so psychological help is required. So all these aspects are covered as part of the scheme. Fine. Then another initiative by your Ministry of Women and Child Development, which has been in use, is your She Box. What is She Box? She Box stands for Sexual Harassment Electronic Box. Sexual Harassment Electronic Box. And it's an online complaint management system which was launched in 2024. Right. Now, see, you must be aware of this Prevention of Sexual Harassment at Workplace, POSH Act, which is implemented in 2013-14. Okay, so again, ideally, we could have, again, there have been questions which have been asked in the mains, in GS and in some of the optionals also with respect to POSH, because it's been 10 years, just over 10 years of implementation of POSH. Okay, but again, as part of POSH, you already know there are certain things called Internal Complaints Committee and Local Complaints Committee. These are the things that you're aware as part of your POSH Act. That is, if an organization has minimum, let's say 10 people, right, then that is supposed to have a internal complaints committee. If there are women also part of the organization, and you know about who all should be constituting the internal complaints committee. Likewise, if it's a small organization, if it is an informal setup wherein the women are working, imagine a case of a domestic worker, okay, and she's not part of any organization per se, but what if she's also facing some kind of a sexual harassment at a household where the domestic help is working? So those people can reach out to the local complaints committee, which is set up at the district level. Okay, fine. Anyways, so these are there as part of POSH Act, but this online portal is kind of acting like a repository which is containing all the details which are otherwise registered, complaints that are registered at ICCs and the local complaints committees. And it's a unified platform for women to complain, to file complaints, monitor their status, and ensure the complaints are processed in a timely manner. So you got to know the status of the complaints that you've made to the LCC and ICC. Okay, you don't have to reach out to go to the place every time. There's an online portal wherein you can track the progress of your case, your complaint, and also features a repository of resources. Okay, and if you need more and more details with respect to POSH Act, if you look at recent development also, there have been some court rulings with respect to POSH Act also. Like, for example, there are some provisions. If you look at the POSH Act, there are some provisions that if there is an incident of sexual harassment, you are supposed to file a complaint within the 3 month span. But again, in some cases, the Supreme Court has given a verdict saying that there could be a continuing offense also. What if the sexual harassment is happening for a good amount of time, right? It is continuously happening for a good amount of time. So you cannot strictly impose this restriction of 3 months. while filing the complaints. So there have been some recent judgments with respect to those things. Likewise, there have been some news with respect to POSH Act, whether political parties can also be considered as an institution or organization. Okay, so all these developments are there, which you would anyways would want to know about POSH. Okay, but again, if you look at SheBox, it's a online portal which is kind of a repository of all the complaints. So, and in line with the provisions of the POSH Act. Okay, so who are the target group? Who's the target group? Your women, whether they are part of organized, formal, informal sector, private or government sector. Okay, including your domestic workers. So this is again something that's been in news because it's been recently launched. Okay, this integrated online portal has been recently launched in 2024. There is so that is why it's been in the newspapers also. Fine. Then now let's look at initiatives by Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare and Rural Development. Okay, Krishi Sakhi Convergence Program. Now, fairly important. Why? Because just few months ago, in 2024, Honorable Prime Minister has granted certificates to more than 30,000 self-help group Krishi Sakhis in Varanasi. So again, good amount of coverage of that event. And so quite a few articles also on Krishi Sakhi Convergence Program. Okay, and now this is not an initiative of Ministry of Women and Child Development. It is an initiative of Ministry of Agriculture and Farmer Welfare and Ministry of Rural Development together. Fine. And what is the aim? Is to empower rural women by training and certifying them as a Krishi Sakhis. Okay, so that they're skilled in a way. Okay, and when we're talking about skilling, we're talking about para extension. What is para extension? There are agriculture extension activities. Okay, like anything to do with agriculture, food processing, or looking at the soil health, right? So if you look at some of the activities, okay, this is self-explanatory. There are about quite a lot of activities, training activities like your agriculture, agroecological practices, your basic livestock management, cattle and other livestock, integrated farmer systems, okay, advanced technology that is being used. Okay, so greater participation of women in these activities also, basic communication skills also, because see, imagine you're dealing with the extension activity, so you should be able to market your products well. You should be able to get the right price. So some amount of basic communication skills is also required if you want to empower women in the area of agriculture. Okay, so these are some of the training activities, quite self-explanatory otherwise also. And this course aligns with the objectives of Lakhpati Didi program. So two important programs which are not otherwise directly part of your Ministry of Women and Child Development. One is Krishi Sakhi Convergence programs, and it aligns with the objectives of Lakhpati Didi program. So these two are quite important because it's been covered in the news in 2024. Okay, so let's spend some time on these things. So if you look at this particular Krishi Sakhi Convergence program, again, I mentioned about these training activities, and based on this training, what are the employment options that are available for the women who are getting this training? Fine, right? Under Mission for Organic Value Chain Development and Northeastern Region, women can look at some kind of a work with respect to your soil health advisory, okay, collecting soil samples, formation of farmer producer organizations, okay, and further you can even help in the training of farmers also under your insurance and Kisan credit card schemes also. So once the woman is has gone through this training, and they can act as a agents who are mobilizing more and more farmers, because otherwise also if you look at the penetration of your insurance of Fasal Bima Yojana or otherwise also credit cards, not many farmers are aware of those things. So imagine women who are going through training, they can further ensure more and more participation from the farmers. They can spread the message to other farmers also, right? And under the Seed Village program also, they can ensure there is a training for the farmers on how to produce the seeds. Okay, so these are some of the initiatives or some of the employment opportunities that are available for those women who are going through this program. Fine. And if you look at, as I mentioned, about 30,000 in the recent past only, women Krishi Sakhis have been identified, okay, or certified. And overall, if you look at, more than 34,000 of Krishi Sakhis have been certified as para extension workers. And this particular program has been rolled out in about, now this is something which may not be so important for you from the premise point of view, but as an assessment, If it is some statement that you want to mention in the mains, this is what you can mention. Fine. So this is again fairly important, I would say. Again, maybe again between this and Lakhpati Didi program, again Lakhpati Didi might be quite important because of the fact that about 11 lakh new Lakhpati Didis have been facilitated in 2024 itself. So there has been a good amount of coverage in the news also. Okay. So with respect to this scheme, you might find quite a few statements. So question only on this scheme might be there, or otherwise within one particular question with respect to different schemes, you might find different statements. Okay, fine. So this is all about your Krishi Sakhi Convergence program. Let us look at another important program, which is your Lakhpati Didi scheme. Fine. As I mentioned, both of these schemes you can look in tandem, because when you're looking at this particular program, Krishi Sakhi Convergence program, it is in line with the objectives of the Lakhpati Didi program. So let us look at what are the key provisions of Lakhpati Didi scheme. Again, by Ministry of Rural Development. Why was it in news? Because of the felicitation of Lakhpati Didis, which was covered in the news also in the month of August 2024. It was launched in December 2023, and with an aim of trying to have 2 crore Lakhpati Didis. Now, who is a Lakhpati Didi? A woman who is a member of a self-help group, and she's able to earn more than 1 lakh per year. More than 1 lakh per year. But it should not be a one-off case. एक साल कमा लिया, but again अगले साल से hardly she's able to. So it has to be sustained for a good amount of time. So you're looking at an average income of 1 lakh a year, but it has to sustain for a good amount of. That is why we're looking at 4 agriculture seasons and business cycles with an average monthly income of about 10,000. So how do you define what is the criteria to consider someone to be a Lakhpati Didi? This is the criteria. Okay, so a statement from the point of this criteria can also be asked. Okay, right? Then it facilitates diversified livelihood activities by ensuring convergence across various government departments, private sector. Okay, again, multi-sectoral approach, convergence model. And if you look at the financial assistance aspect, okay, because some women might be needing some financial assistance, and it is through a convergence and through the Deen Dayal Antyodaya Yojana, NRLM, that your assistance is being provided to the women to thrive. Okay, and if you look at primarily look at the strategy, overall strategy of the scheme, right? Mainly, first of all, you are trying to deepen and strengthen and expand the livelihood options. Try to ensure that more options are available for the women to pick from. Okay, the households will be facilitated and enabled to take diversified income generating activities. Trained community resource persons will be facilitating the livelihood planning using the tool uploaded to a digital platform. So use of digital platform wherein there will be some person who will be called community resource person, right? So there is a person who is trying to handhold the women to pick up, okay, to tell them about what are the options that are available. You get to know what are the interest areas, what are the skills that the woman has. Based on that, there will be a communities resource person, and based on and there's a digital platform wherein all the details of the women are being uploaded, and then a proper tracking is being done in terms of how she's able to meet the goals and objectives, right? So these are called your community resource persons. And when we talk about community resource persons also, so these persons are trying to handhold each and every Lakhpati Didi or potential Lakhpati Didi. And how are we also trying to have these resources? Because even these resource persons need to have some knowledge. They need to have a good understanding, because unless they have a good amount of knowledge, how will they able to mentor these Lakhpati Didis? And that is when there is a proper training program that is being arranged. And for that, there is a team of experts that is there at the national level, and these people are further trying to train people at the state and union territorial. They are further going to train the people at the district and block level. So at different levels, right, from national level, state level, then district level, block level, you have a chain of training program to ensure that there are community resource people who are trying to do a hand holding for the Lakhpati Didi. So this is the strategy of how this scheme is being implemented, okay, in terms of training and in terms of strategy per se. Fine, deepen, strengthen, expand the livelihood options, implementation support, okay, again, with the help of so because when you look at the support, what are the, so if you want to ensure that the women are able to earn sustainable income of more than 1 lakh for good amount of time, then you need assets, you need financing options, and you need to have an access to the market also. Assets, finance, and market. So this is the support that is provided by your community resource persons also. And we are talking about convergence. I've just mentioned, okay, even your DAY NRLM is also trying to provide some kind of a financial assistance. Fine. So there is a convergence that is available. And also training and capacity building. Just now I discussed about the kind of training that is available. So when you're talking about training, then involving many stakeholders that are there, civil society organizations. Fine. So this is a broad strategy. So there could be statements pertaining to, let's say, one of these strategies, some of these strategies, statements pertaining to the kind of training program that is there. And there could be multiple statements. Quite possible. A question on Lakhpati Didi scheme altogether, some 4 statements. How many of the statements above are 2, 1 only, 2 only, 3 only, 4 only? That kind of a question can be potentially asked with respect to your Lakhpati Didi scheme. Right? Okay, fine. And if you, from the point of your mains first for that matter, okay, if you want to look at what has been the extent of success, yes, 6,000 master trainers, and already there have been 3 lakh community resource persons who have been trained. And initially the target that has been set is for 2 crore Lakhpati Didis. Now that has been recently been increased from 2 crores to 3 crores. So that means there is some significant progress that is being seen. That is why the target has been increased to 3 lakhs that ways. And as of till date, we have identified more than potential Lakhpati Didis, more than 2.47 crore potential Lakhpati Didis. Okay, right. So this is some information. So from the point of view of, so again, see, this is not an initiative of Ministry of Women and Child Development per se. Okay, though there is a convergence that is there, but it is not a flagship program of your Ministry of Child and Women and Child Development. Rather, it is to do with the Ministry of Rural Development and Ministry of Agriculture and Farmer Welfare. These 2 programs are quite important. Right? Okay. The next scheme that has been in use, again, this is a different ministry altogether, your Ministry of Education. Kasturba Gandhi Balika Vidyalayas. Again, recently in news, because in 2024, there have been quite a few articles on the performance. Okay, and in 2024, NCRT has submitted an evaluation report of your Kasturba Gandhi Balika Vidyalayas. And this is 3rd such report. In the past also, there are 2 such reports that have been submitted by NCRT. And in 2024, the latest report has been submitted. So that is why there has been some coverage on this in many newspapers, including the Hindu also. And this particular initiative of Ministry of Education was in the year of 2024 by Union Government, and it was merged with the Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan of 2027. Because see, again, a lot of things, if you look at with respect to NAPR in the news, then again, quite a lot of things in the news with respect to Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan also, right? The tussle between center and the state, some of the states. So from the point of view of education as a theme, certainly NAP is something that you will going to emphasize on. But again, if you look at from the point of women or girl empowerment of girl children, this is an important initiative of Ministry of Education, and a report has been submitted by NCRT, and it has also tried to emphasize on some of the challenges. Okay, what are the things that needs to be taken care of? Okay, definitely some achievements, but also what is the lacuna that has been there, that has been mentioned by NCRT. So we look at both the developments and also lacuna, and right, what are the areas that needs to be focused. And since it's been in use in 2024, for the fact that a report has been submitted, we are briefly looking at this particular scheme. Fine. And the target group is your girl students belonging predominantly to the scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, OBC, and minority communities, and that too in an educationally backward block. Right? Now, what is an educationally backward block? You're looking at certain criteria like female rural literacy is below the national average, and also the gender gap in terms of literacy. That means the literacy rate of the men and women, boys and girls, the gap is more than the gap at the national level. So at the national level, you know what is the literacy rate of men and women, what is the gap that is there. If it is significantly more than this at a particular area, then that is also becomes an important area of focus. Okay, and that can be determined as educationally backward blocks. So the emphasis is also on the educationally backward blocks, and also within that also predominantly, it's not that only it is meant for only girl children belong to SC, ST, and OBC and minority, but predominantly the emphasis is on these communities. Okay, and the objectives, the stated objectives are improve the gross enrollment of the women in the school education and bridge the gender gap. Self-explanatory that ways, and overall literacy rate among the marginalized sections, and residential facility with emphasis on life skills and vocational training beyond. That means we are not only focusing on the academics, right? How much of what is the attendance, what is the pass percentage, what is the average performance in terms of marks. Not only that, the emphasis is also on the life skills and the vocational training. And for that reason only, if you have to emphasize on life skills and vocational training, the residential facility can ensure these things. Okay, right? So beyond your basic academics, you are spending some time on vocational training and life skills also. Right? So these are the stated objectives. So it's been quite some time since the launch of the scheme, but again, since there's been a report published by NCERT, we are trying to look at this briefly. Fine, okay. Then, if you look at the performance, as of now, as of 2023 per se, we have more than 5,000 approved Kasturba Gandhi Balika Vidyalayas, catering to the needs of more than 6.8 lakh girls. Okay, so fairly significant achievement that way is okay. And in a way, it has been able to also improve the enrollment of girls belonging to the marginalized communities. And if you look at the challenges, because the report was mainly highlighting the lacuna also beyond the developments. Okay, and if you look at the lacuna, what is the lacuna? Of the 5,000 odd KGBVs that are there, about 1,000 are either partially functioning or non-functionals because of various reasons. Okay, infrastructure, lack of teachers. Okay, delays in terms of bureaucracy. Okay, of setting up or trying to repair a particular Vidyalaya, all those things. So due to various reasons, as mentioned, there have been about 1,000 KGBVs which are partially or non-functional, and it's been a challenge to retain even staff also because of the wages and insecurity of job, especially in the remote areas. And imagine we're talking about remote areas, then that means the people who are working, the staff and teachers, they have to travel a long distance. So that way it may not be feasible for financially viable also for some staff also. Okay, fine. And almost half of the teachers have less than 5 years of experience. And some of the wardens have also been complaining of the fact that, okay, they cannot reside with their family because no, it is in a remote area. No, if the family is somewhere else and the warden is residing in the facility which is in some remote area. So unless and until the family is with them, it might be difficult for the wardens also to be part of this premise. Okay, then security concerns. Some of the KVBIs have no compound walls, no boundary walls, no fencing. Some of them don't have CCTV at the entrance also. So these are some of the aspects which have been categorically mentioned by NCERT in its report that was published in 2024, due to which we are discussing these things. Okay, because it was there in the news. So because this aspect was highlighted by NCERT, you may want to briefly know about what is this program, this scheme. Fine, okay, right? Then the next initiative scheme is of Ministry of Cooperation. Again, quite important because cooperatives have been in news. There's been international conference also, and we're thinking about this year to be the International Year of Cooperatives also. So that ways, other than women-centric schemes within this ministry, in general also, you can expect some questions or some initiatives with respect to the Ministry of Cooperation also. But particularly emphasizing on women empowerment, there is a program, there's a scheme called Nandini Sahakar Yojana of Ministry of Cooperation, and it was launched in August of 2024. That is why it's been in news, by National Cooperative Development Corporation. Now, what is this? National Cooperative Organization is an apex level statutory autonomous institution which was set up as part of the Act of Parliament. Right? So that is autonomous statutory body as under the Act of Parliament. Again, there could be a statement there could be a question or some statement with respect to NCDC also, because a lot of things, if not pertaining to women, this particular Nandini Sahakar Yojana, something to do with Ministry of Cooperation, something to do with cooperatives. There could be statements on NCDC also, whether it is a statutory organization or not. Likewise, so it can be a important aspect for prelims. And it is a women-focused framework of financial assistance, project formulation, handholding, and capacity development aimed at primarily women cooperatives. Right. So specifically targeting women cooperatives, and there is no limit in terms of what is the minimum or maximum amount that can be provided as a financial assistance for the women cooperatives. And when we talk about women, how do you decide whether a cooperative is women? Because the cooperatives can have both women and men. So how will you decide? So there's a criteria in terms of eligibility, that is societies with at least 50% as women as primary members. And that cooperative should be functioning for at least 3 months. So this is the basic criteria that you have to look at in terms of eligibility. Fine. And if you look at the stated objectives, again, it is in line with because we are trying to, cooperatives are an important modes for self-employment. Okay, and it is in line with the principles of Atmanirbhar Bharat, improve the socio-economic status of women, support entrepreneurial dynamism, and convergence of critical inputs of women enterprise, business plan formulation, capacity development, credit subsidy, interest subvention of other schemes also. That means, so that is what. So this is also involving some bit of convergence, because when we're looking at, there could be some other schemes also which are providing you some subsidy or interest subvention. So we are looking at some kind of convergence with those programs also. Okay. And if you look at the benefits per se, what are the major benefits? Mainly your interest subvention. So whatever loan that is being provided by NCDC, right? And imagine, so look at a particular women cooperative. Now, looking at the proposal that is being put forth by this cooperative, the NCDC will look at the proposal and will decide whether it is some kind of an innovative activity. If it is an innovative activity, there will be a 2% interest subvention. That means whatever is the going market rate of taking money, picking money from the market, you're getting 2% of subvention. And if it is not an innovative activity, then it is, at least you will get any other activity also, you will get 1% of subvention. So primarily the benefit that women are trying to get from NCDC is interest subvention. And if you look at the performance in terms of what is the help that has been provided by NCDC as of March of 2024, to the tune of more than 6,500 crores of money has been disbursed, okay, as provided as financial assistance to the women cooperatives. And see, only providing loan is not sufficient, because see, as an organization, you are providing loans, but what if there is no repayment by the cooperatives? That organization which is providing loans will not sustain for a long period of time. But what is the also healthy sign for this, right? About 90% of recovery rate, okay, which is a good sign, right? So that way, as an organization, NCDC can also sustain, because you're able to recover about 98% of the loans that you have been disbursed to the women cooperatives. Okay, so that way, it is also a sign in a way that if you provide loan to women, there is a higher chance of that being repaid. Okay, fine. Or women SHGs have a greater chance of repaying compared to any other SHGs. Okay, fine. So this is also one important scheme of Ministry of Cooperation. Fine. Then a couple of small initiatives. Now these are not primarily schemes, I would say, but it's been in news for the reason that there has been a CSR activity of NTPC, which was in news in 2024, because it has won the UN Women Award, okay, Women Empowerment Principles Award. Now, what is this initiative? This is not again a government initiative, okay, but it is in line with the target that has been set for Beti Bachao Beti Padhao. Okay, so whatever aims and objectives that are mentioned as part of Beti Bachao Beti Padhao, and which has been in news for it celebrating its 10th year of implementation. So under in a way, this particular CSR initiative is also trying to help meet the objectives of this particular scheme. So this particular program was in use in 2024 because of the award that it has won. So according to this mission, Girl Empowerment Mission, okay, which was initiated in 2018, there is a workshop that is conducted for the girl children. And in that workshop, so especially targeting the girl children. So otherwise, what you look at, if you look at the summer break of 1 or 2 months, most of the time the children are not doing any productive activity. But again, so out of that summer vacation that is there, the girl children are encouraged to participate in this particular workshop, especially in the vicinity of or the areas that have been identified by NTPC. Okay, and the emphasis is on nurturing leadership qualities, hygiene, fitness, safety, sports, and skill development, confidence building. So that ways, this particular CSR wing of NTPC has been able to reach out to about 10,000 children. As of it was launched in 2018, from 2018 to 2024, about 10,000 children were benefited. Okay, so quite a significant initiative that ways. Okay, so you can mention this if there is no question also for that matter. For example, what could be a possible question? Some statement which is saying Girl Empowered Mission is an initiative of Ministry of Education. So that statement will be there. Okay, so you have to again mark that to be incorrect, no? Right? Likewise, one more again, the last initiative with respect to women empowerment is by your Department of Biotechnology along with your IIT Madras, and there's an institute called Translational Health Science and Technology Institute. Okay, and this is called Gerbini GA2. Now again, some questions, it could be a simple question also. Gerbini GA2 is associated with one statement, a satellite that is being launched, so and so. It is an initiative of women and child development to ensure IVF. Likewise, there could be some simple statements. A simple question can be asked with this is the question also, right? So that way, okay. But again, this was in news in 2024. Why? Because it's a initiative in a way, an advancement in technology using artificial intelligence, right? So that way, what is this new advancement in terms of detection that is being done of pregnancy is that, see, mainly AI is being used to understand the age of fetus. So in a pregnant woman, looking at the fetus, you should, if you're able to predict the date of birth, it will help, no? Imagine if you're able to give an idea in terms of what is going to be the day of birth of a child, no? You can actually plan well in terms of ensuring proper nutrition of women and when to look for any kind of an institutional delivery or not. Okay. Now, this kind of prediction is being, as of now, being done using some existing models called current Hadlock or Intergrow 21 models. So these are some existing models are there which are being used, but these models are reliant on what is called Western population. That means based on the data of pregnant women in the West and their population, you're trying to speculate in terms of, or trying to understand what is the age of the fetus that way. Okay. Now, these kind of models are prone to some kind of errors. Why? Because we are looking at Western population. So that way, this model, which has been an initiative of your IIT Madras and THSTI Faridabad, they're now able to use what is called accurate gestational age, and they're able to determine precisely the date of delivery. Okay. Now, this model is the first late trimester G estimation model to be developed and validated using the Indian population data. That means, so why is it an advancement? And why is it more important in the context of India? Because until now, we have been using the Western population as the base. Okay, now we are using Indian population and we are using again AI to better predict the date of birth. That way is fine. And currently, as I told you, the Western population is being used, which is prone to errors. So that is why we want to reduce the error by about, we are able to reduce the error about by 3 times. Okay, fine. And it can improve the care delivered by obstetricians and the neonatologists. Ultimately, see, if you're able to predict the birth, you can take care of the pregnant woman better. Okay. And if you're able to take care of the pregnant woman, ultimately your MMR and IMR or neonatal mortality rate is going to be contained. Okay. So that way, so indirectly, this model is helping you in improved status in terms of MMR, IMR, and neonatal mortality rate also, which is again, we have certain targets set for in terms of your sustainable development goals also. So that way, Garbini GA2 is an advanced AI model based on Indian population rather than the existing Western population, which is able to help us with a better prediction in terms of when is the child is going to be born. Okay, so since it was something which has been in news in 2024, an initiative, an innovation of Indian organizations, this was briefly covered in the news also, right? Right. So these are some of the initiatives, and not limiting to your Ministry of Child and Women and Child Development. All the women empowerment specific initiatives and schemes across various ministries I've tried to touch upon, which have been in the news in the last 1.5 years or so. Okay, fine. Okay, so with respect to women empowerment, almost all the initiatives have been covered as part of this session. Okay, this should be more than enough for you to deal with this particular theme for prelims. And definitely, I've not just limited to prelims also, I've even added the assessment part and the concerns part also, so that you can use the same content, same document for your mains right after your prelims. Okay, fine. All the best.